Right, it's time to settle this debate. TSR versus GT, new versus old, is it any better? There seems to be a lot of mixed opinions out there. Some saying TSR is still better, some saying GT's way better. A lot of people saying there's absolutely no difference. So today, as we always do, we're going to go super in-depth, backed up by data, put them head to head to try and really see, is there any difference? So the bulk of today's testing is going to be done at 100-mile-an-hour swing speed, so I'm going to get two good average data sets with both, like reasonably good shots and good shots to compare. Then I'm going to do and split out the data sets into heel strikes and toe strikes. So I'm going to miss hit them on purpose, out the heel, out the toe, separate the data sets to really see, is there any difference at the middle and on a good data set? And is there any difference on a bad hit and with a bad data set? Because that's really nowadays what we're going to be talking about in terms of the difference of the performance of these drivers. And I'm also going to chuck another data set in at the end at my normal swing speed just to see, if I'm limiting it down to 100 mile an hour, we're not really going to be able to tell if there is any swing speed differences or anything like that. Whereas if I'm just swinging normally without even thinking about it, then we might be able to see, is there any kind of differences in that swing speed? I know they've tried to tweak aerodynamics and stuff like that, which could lead to more ball speed. So we'll see that more in that data set. And as always, if you love our content and you love the effort we put into providing these videos for you, I'm not even going to ask you to subscribe today. Don't even worry about that. Just hit the like button. What that does is it tells YouTube people love the video and it pushes it out to more like-minded people like you so they can also see this super in-depth, unbiased and honest comparison of these two drivers. So before we jump in, comment below, let me know what you think is going to be the outcome. First up, we're going to get a normal baseline set with the TSR2. So this is the 10-degree head, set B1 on the sleeve setting, which is just standard loft and flat, standard head weight. And we're actually going to go with the new stock shaft. So this is a new stock shaft for the GT lineup, which is the Project X Denali Red 50 gram 6.0. I think this is going to be a great shaft for a lot of sort of average swing speed golfers out there. Feels stable, but not whippy, nice and light at 50 grams. And yeah, just a really good shaft. That was nice. Don't mind that, slightly high in the face to start off with. Yep, 5mm high, decent launch and spin, 143 efficiency, so 265 in the middle. A bit of a high righty one. So that's quite interesting. So the face was only 1.7 open there. Strike was fairly similar, like a couple of mil high in the face. Face was only 1.6 open relative to me swinging slightly inside, but that spin went up to 3.6. Like, that's a big jump. And that was high toe. A bit high toe down the left side, so pretty much the opposite of the last one. So strikes are not a million miles apart, to be fair. I mean, that definitely did feel high toe. I closed the face slightly as well. So the face went 2 degrees closed there. So obviously that's one of the reasons it went left, but it did curve quite a lot. And now we're already seeing a huge discrepancy in spin, which is obviously a bit to do with me, but obviously swinging at this swing speed, this isn't normal for me. So I'm going to get some miss hits, which really is good to see. Again, a little bit of a high right one. Still fairway. Just seems like the spin changes so much. Again, so you can see there the strikes, 3 of those are very similar. And again, the face goes back to marginally open. That spin goes right back up to 3.2. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, good one to look at though. They've done very well. High toe, didn't feel nice at all. 268.12 offline. That's good. That's a great swing as well. Much better. Again, 265 down the middle. I did swing that slightly slower, in fairness, 97, so I'll always make it fair between these two. So I'll make sure on average I'm swinging them the same speeds because it's fluctuating a little bit because this isn't my normal swing speed. But again, 145 efficiency, great efficiency. 13 launch, 2.4 spin, really good numbers. So that's 16 shots I just hit with the TSR2, moving into the GT2. I mean, you can see I didn't really hit many fairways there. I either hit it down the left or I hit it down the right. There's probably one, two in the fairway. Not the best, but, probably mid-handicap. So yeah, into the GT2. Swing weight, the swing weight of the TSR2 was D1.5. Now moving into this, it goes up to D3. Now I did check the head weight of 2 GT2s and 2 TSR2s, and both of the GT2s weighed about 2 to 2.5 grams more than the TSR2s. I hope I said that right. Basically, GT2 is slightly heavier than TSR2. Both times about 2 to 2.5 grams. So it does appear that in the 2 model at least, they have made the head a tiny bit heavier, maybe for trying to get that little bit of extra stability, possibly, but it is a bit heavier. So yeah, it just feels like a tiny, tiny bit heavier. Looking down by the ball, definitely doesn't look anywhere near as closed. Like the TSR2 at 10 to me looks like it sits quite closed, where this sits very neutral, or it looks that way. Again, we've touched on the lines on the face a few times if you've seen my videos. Like the lines on the face really do brighten up the face and enable you to see more of the face. So it looks, I don't know if it is less closed, but it looks less closed and it looks way more lofted. Like that, the same loft, this looks like 2-3 degrees more. Yeah, I mean, actually comparing them down by the ball, I think shape-wise, it just looks like the GT is a lot shallower. And I think that's part of the reason why it seems like it looks like you can see more face and it looks more lofted, because the TSR head looks deeper and it looks more like bulby, whereas the GT, the face looks shallower and it kind of looks flatter across the top. It doesn't like it bulbs up, it just looks flatter. So yeah, that almost gives it the appearance of looking a little bit more compact. And it definitely sits a lot nicer to my eye. Front to back, I can't really tell any, heel to toe, front to back, I can't really tell any difference. It's literally just kind of the fact it looks shallower. And that's really interesting, because the last one I hit right as well. Yeah, I mean, it still did okay, considering it's a little bit low in the head. Face was open to the pass. It's a bit of a high right, slidey one. 3-3 spin, it's not too bad. Feel-wise, I still think it feels a bit thuddier, a little bit more solid, but it'd be interesting to jump back into the TSR2 in a bit. Oh, that wasn't good. It's high toe. Yeah, high toe, spin goes down to 1700. Well, at least the pattern continues, is me going left and right and spin jumping all over the shop, so probably wasn't the driver. Oh, I do struggle swinging slowly, but it's what the people want. Hey. Oh, no, still missed it. I thought I was going to hit fairway, got excited there. Again, it was a good strike though. I mean, it's pretty middled. Again, 145 efficiency out the middle, so efficiency is pretty similar. 11 launch, 2.5 spin. Could even be a fraction more than the TSR. Hey, that one is in the fairway. Maybe a couple of mil out the neck. Getting 269. Yeah, it felt slightly heely. Getting decent numbers though, 12.5 launch, 2.4 spin, 144 efficiency. I don't know if it does feel any different. I'll flick straight back to TSR in a minute, just so I can really try and see if there is a feel difference. Oh, that didn't feel that good actually, but I don't know, weird, because that's probably one of the best shots of the day. Yeah, okay, again, so that was middled, turned it a fraction. Yeah, good strike. Yeah, 2.6 spin. I definitely don't think it's lower spin than the TSR2, that's for sure. But yeah, still 146 efficiency. That's the most efficient shot of the day, in fairness. Again, 250 carry, 274 total. That's a high right. She's done well though. It's done really well. I'm expecting that to go quite a bit right. Yeah, and a couple of mil low in the head. Yeah, 28 spin. That's not bad. Still at 267 in the fairway. That felt like a good swing. Slightly slower swing speed there, but yeah, it's a great delivery. So again, it's probably a good representation of how this head performs on a good strike. So you can see there, strike pretty much bang out the middle, face slightly slightly closed relative to an in-to-out path, which is nice. Finished pretty much bang on target line. 13.7 launch, 2.8 spin. So I'm just going to flick back to the TSR2 to feel like I'm finding a bit of a groove with the swing. Okay, back to the TSR2. It's definitely, I don't know. I'm really struggling with this. Like, really found a little groove there with the GT, but straight back into this. I've got one high right, one I turned over way left. That's in the fairway, but wasn't the best strike. Striking it in a similar place, I mean, that was a bit low, but it's funny because we did the GT3 versus TSR3 yesterday, and I wasn't the tester there, but it was a similar story, to be honest. Like, when you hit it really well, there didn't seem to be much difference, but the GT3 just seemed to click way better with Josh, who was the tester, for whatever reason, and it seems the same here. I just can't find a fairway with this. How much you put down to the club? Probably more me, but at the moment I'd definitely be picking the GT. Hey, there we go. That's very similar, I think, to the one that I hit with the GT. Felt like a good strike. Yeah, strike pretty much exactly the same. 13.5. 2.9 spin. I think that it was 2.8 spin with the GT. So yeah, let's look at the numbers. So 100 mile an hour club data comparison before we look at the ball data. So TSR2 on top, GT on the bottom. So you see efficiency, exactly the same. So relative ball speed is going to be fairly comparable on, good data set, good hits. As you can see there, the average strikes of both pretty damn comparable. Swing speed within 0.3 of a mile an hour on average, so about as close as I can get it as a human. Really, one of the only differences we see is slightly less dynamic loft with the GT, which again, in theory, they've talked about moving the CG lower and further forward, which should technically lead to slightly less loft impact, which we see here. So it'd be interesting to see if that stays as a pattern throughout today. So we see angle of attack's within half a degree, path is absolutely bang on, face within half a degree, dynamic lie exactly the same. So yeah, from a club delivery perspective and strike perspective, very fair. So the ball data comparison, we can see that we do get a little bit more ball speed out of the GT2. I'm not really sure how that works, if the swing speed is pretty much the same and the efficiency is pretty much the same. I mean, the swing speed was marginally quicker, but we got a tiny bit more ball speed. Launch, absolutely identical. Spin, we're about 200-ish revs less, 170-ish revs less with the GT2. So we are seeing a little bit lower spin. Again, maybe that CG a little bit lower and further forward, moving lower spin, but the peak heights were literally 88 feet, like exactly the same peak height. No difference in peak height or descent. But the fact we got a tiny bit more ball speed and we got a tiny bit lower spin meant that we did pick up 6 yards more carry, which, is not bad at all. Again, I'm not really going to look at total because some might have landed in the rough and whatnot. But so we look at carry because the peak height and descent was the same anyway. And we can see on average the dispersion both slightly down the left on average. That's very fair. Front to back, maybe slightly better with the TSR. Left to right, slightly better with the GT2, but really that's more down to medium clubs anyway, but it's a very fair comparison. So yeah, I mean, realistically, the takeaway from that is the GT is probably just a little bit lower spin, and we've got a few extra yards out of it. Now it's time for some terrible hits. First up, TSR2, obviously same setup, and we're going to be hitting it at the toe. Oh. Done really well. Really well. I'll try as much as I can. Yeah, it didn't feel good. 17 mil toe, 7 mil low. I'm gonna try as much as I can to keep the swing speed around 100. It's gonna be tough while also miss hitting them, but I'm gonna try my best. But yeah, that felt super toey and great result. That was horrendous. Like you're not hitting it more toey than that. You almost wouldn't know, would you? What a result. Yeah, I mean, that's 28 mil toe. Horrendous. 140 efficiency. That's solid. Again, horrible strike. Again, super straight. I need to just try and miss hitting it on course on purpose. So much straighter. Okay, so the swing speed was a bit lower on that one, but again, still 141 efficiency, and that, so toe. GT2, time for some toe strikes. I mean, we were living right around that 1.4 to 1.42 toe strike efficiency with the TSR, so let's see how the GT stacks up. That was so bad. Held down the right a little bit more, but again, it's done well. Swing speed again, a little bit down, around 94 on that one, I think. But yeah, 22 toe, way out there in the toe, 141 efficiency. Oh. That was, again, also very toe. I mean, that, to be fair, that's done remarkably well. Down the line, yeah, again, 17 toe, which in all fairness, there was a couple with the TSR at 17 mil toe, which is 142 efficiency, 142, 141. That's 144 efficiency. That's very impressive. Oh, wow, I nearly missed that. I mean, that is a hell of a result. That's probably the worst toe strike yet. Numbers are actually class. 12.5 launch, 2-1 spin, 32 mil toe. I mean, I didn't think you could get any more than, was it 28 I hit with the TSR? That was horrendous. So the efficiency was 138, so it did drop a little bit lower, but it was, that felt not even on the face. 256 in the fairway. Oh. Again, that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't actually think, I'd be interested to see where that strike was, because that's done remarkably well. Yeah, I mean, 18 mil toe, 143 efficiency, 13.5 launch, 2.4 backspin, 240 carry. It's pretty remarkable. Again, very similar thing, like, that's just unreal. So good. Yeah, slightly worse, 21 mil toe. But I mean, it's like a nice little draw down the fairway. Complete toe strike miss hit. So we'll have a quick look at the data on average. I didn't hit loads of shots, but I feel like it's a pretty fair comparison to look at. Again, average strikes miles out in the toe. So we can see TSR on top again, GT on the bottom. Efficiency, yeah, we've got a tiny little bit more out of the GT2. You can take from that what you will. Swing speeds, again, within half a mile an hour, fairly comparable. Again, interestingly, we do see a little bit less dynamic loft in this, even in this test where not swinging my normal speed, trying to completely miss-hit it. Again, attack, path, face, dynamic lie, actually identical. Apparently, I am a robot. But he has strikes, so let's have a look at the ball data. And again, it's a fairly similar pattern to the decent strikes. Ball speed, pretty comparable. Touch more out of the GT, but basically the same. Launch, basically the same. Spin, a couple hundred revs less with the GT, equating in 3 yards extra more carry at the GT. So again, touch more efficient maybe, a little bit lower spin. You can see there again, very comparable in terms of the fairness of this test, in terms of the dispersion and the direction and all that, which does matter. Yeah, I mean, standard deviations and whatnot is pretty tight. I can't look at it too much because it's a very small data set and I'm not that consistent. But yeah, realistically, in terms of the toe miss hits, not loads there. Back in the TSR2 for some heel strikes. Oh, why am I so good at miss-hitting it? Like, I just need to do this on course, don't I? It goes way straighter. Straight away, first one, straight out of the neck, miles out of the neck, 136 efficiency. As I always say in tests, the toe is way more efficient than the heel. So if you've got a heel strike, work on hitting out the toe because it is a lot better. And again, so bad. That is so bad. Again, like, it's down the fairway. It's about what you can hope for when you hit it that badly. So that's, yeah, 135 efficiency, even worse. High up in the heel. It's the worst quadrant on the face to hit it from an efficiency perspective. High heel, terrible. Good result. That was literally on the shaft. Oh! That felt absolutely disgusting. Similar to a couple of the toe ones, like you can't hit that worse than that without literally missing the ball. It felt like it was on the shaft. 127 efficiency. That's rubbish. But again, it's in the fairway. Wow, like, can't believe how straight I hit it when I'm hitting out the heel or toe. But that is 5 of the most consistent heel strikes you'll ever see. Again, 133 efficiency, absolute rubbish, but into the fairway. Right, let's get some heels with the GT. Again, that was not too dissimilar. I don't know, they've just all been similar, to be honest, but that was really bad, like really bad. Just horrendous, like, yeah, felt like on the shaft. And 136 efficiency. That was super high heel, terrible. Yep, awful, absolutely awful. So again, not good efficiency, but it's in play. Jeez Louise, that's, I don't like doing this, to be honest. This is, that felt horrific. As bad as the worst one, yeah, I mean, it's just all living. Weirdly, I remember, like, even in the 10K versus GT2 video, I was always hitting this quite high in the head, this GT. And even compared to the TSR2, I've been doing the same sort of thing. Again, terrible. I mean, that's pretty impressive, really, isn't it? I mean, still good spin, 14.7 launch, 2.7 spin, 137 efficiency again, okay, not great. Look at the strike, I mean. Well, let's compare. So the terrible heel strike data, again, you can see average strike, definitely very fair, way out of the heel. So you can see, again, TSR on top, GT on the bottom. Again, a tiny little bit more efficiency at the GT, so it probably is a little bit more efficient on miss hits. Again, swing speed within half a mile an hour. Again, we see a little bit less dynamic loft coming from the GT, so far that pattern is very consistent. And yeah, again, attack, path, face, not quite as consistent, to be fair, as with the toe ones. And if anything, the GT may be a little bit of a more of a disadvantage with the fact that the face was more open relative to the path, especially when we're striking at the heel. Open face, heel strike means it's probably going to curve more, spin a little bit more, and probably not quite go as far. So let's look at the ball data. So again, tiny bit more ball speed out of the GT, which is great. Tiny bit higher launch and tiny bit more spin this time from the GT. In fairness, I think that would probably be more due to the face being, was it almost 2 degrees open on average? But it's still fairly comparable, isn't it? I think if the face was a bit more square, we would probably see a slightly similar pattern where the launch would be the same, spin probably slightly lower on the GT. I mean, there you can see, again, slightly down that left side. Again, pretty much the same left to right. GT, it's saying a little bit better front to back. Again, it's a small data set, take from that what you will. And again, we saw a little bit more carry coming from the GT. So I'm going to get set at my full speed as well. I'll probably hit about 10 with each. I'll show you a few of them, and then I'll show you the data of those as well, just for you who do swing a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go down in loft. So this TSR2, 9 degree set C1. So 0.75 down, 0.75 flat, so it's playing 8.25. And shaft-wise, we've got the brand new GM5 Hazardous Black 6.5, 60 gram. That was really nice. That was absolutely middled. Couldn't hit that a lot better. Get on that line. Oh! Again, absolutely bang out the middle. 11 launch, 2-3 spin. Solid. Again, that was also pretty damn good. It's like 2 back-to-back, almost identical shots. I think that might have been a couple mil lower in the head. Yeah, 5 mil low. So we see a smidge more spin, but still, brilliant. Again, that was a little bit of a miss hit, a bit high toe. That's a great result, isn't it? Lovely, lovely fly. Yep, slightly high in that toe section again. 13 launch. See, spin comes down a little bit. 2-1. Still really good numbers, good efficiency, good ball speed, and a good result. Oh, that's a bad hit. Well, I'll show you a couple of bad ones with these as well. High right, low heel. Yeah, that was just not good. Open face, got stuck a bit underneath it. Low heel, spin comes up to 3-3. 39 yards right. Most holes, yeah, probably be a bit iffy. I'll carry on to that fairway. Go on! Again, can't grumble at that.
Rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers. Kane's giving me shit, he doesn't even play golf. Again, absolutely Really good driver numbers. Into the GT2, again, obviously same setup. Now we move to a 9-degree head, set in C1, same shaft. It really is just remarkable. I mean, this now obviously set C1, so down in loft opens the face slightly. It's remarkable how open this head sits, like compared to the TSR. It's crazy. Like, I don't actually think that'd be a good thing for a lot of amateurs, if I'm honest. Like, a lot of people miss right. As soon as they see like the face being more open, it might not be a good thing for a lot of people. But again, it looks more lofted, looks more open, sits squatter, sits flatter, and to my eye, it looks a lot nicer. Oh, that was really bad. Done really well though. I mean, that just felt like it was going to go left, that. It's just a bit toey, bit of a closed face, spin drops a little bit. Efficiency 145 though, like that's really solid. It definitely is like a thuddier, duller, more muted sound, which is really good, and it definitely feels more stable. Oh, that's the best strike. Just didn't quite square the face. Okay, it's not bad though. That'll help. It'll kick off the path. Felt really good, that, to be honest. Yeah, that's out the middle. Again, just left that face a little bit open. 25 right, not the end of the world. Probably be okay with that on most holes. Again, 144 efficiency, 165 ball. I must say, now I'm swinging at sort of full speed and you can really start to feel the face a little bit more. The GT face, it definitely feels nicer. Oh, man, that was horrendous. That was probably worse than the one I hit with the TSR2, to be honest. Again, that's done really well. That ball speed from that strike, yeah, it was it felt horrendous. Low neck, 142 efficiency. How far off line's that? 24 yards and still carry 275. Again, impressive. It's better. It's probably one of the better ones I've hit so far. Felt like a good swing. Yeah, that's really nice. That was very, very good. It does feel really good, this, when you middle it. Kind of see the ball print there. Yeah, pretty much bang out the middle. 12.5 launch, 2, 3 backspin, 167 ball speed, 16. Again, like, I'm definitely warm because I'm doing this right at the very end. If anything, tired. And the swing speed still is, I reckon, fractionally faster with the GT. And that's part of the reason I wanted to do this at my full speed as well, because if I'm limiting my swing speed, you're never going to be able to see if there's a potential to swing it faster. Whereas if I'm just swinging full out, normal, trying to hit it, then you'll actually be able to see, because they talk about aero a lot. They've said that they put a lot into that, making these more aerodynamic. That might be a part of why the face is a little bit shallower, a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, be interesting to see the numbers at the end. Again, it was pretty good. Yeah. Cannot grumble at that one. Yeah, I mean, that's 168 ball speed, like best ball speed of the day, really efficient. Full swing speed club data comparison. Again, TSR2 on the top, GT on the bottom. So as we thought, definitely swinging the GT2 a little bit quicker. I mean, not loads, probably around a mile an hour-ish. We're saying, what, 0.7 on average. So might get 1 more mile an hour swing speed out of it and a touch more efficiency. Again, not loads, but on average, 0.1 more efficiency. So we'll see what that means in a minute. Again, the theme definitely continues of the dynamic loft being lower. So what's that, 1.5 degrees, 1.6 degree lower dynamic loft? That's been throughout. We've seen probably 1 to 2 degrees less dynamic loft with the GT. So definitely a design feature of that head, moving the CG lower, further forward, which is really tying into less dynamic loft at impact. You can see the average strike there, very, very fair to these heads. Both very good, consistent strikes there. Attack, pretty much identical. Path, pretty much identical. Face, pretty much identical. I mean, from a delivery perspective, again, very fair to these clubs. So yeah, let's take a look at the ball data. So that tiny bit more swing speed and tiny bit more efficiency led to that 2.5 more mile an hour ball speed. So again, you would say it's only 0.7 of a mile an hour. It's only 0.01 of an efficiency, but that does lead to 2.5 mile an hour ball speed. So it makes a decent difference. Launch exactly the same, spin basically exactly the same. Standard deviation maybe slightly tighter spin-wise with the GT, but again, really I'd put that probably a little bit more down to me. But you know, we're not seeing any difference in launch and spin really, even though we had slightly less delivered dynamic loft. I think on average you might see, you know, you guys out there testing it, you might see that the GT launches and spins a fraction lower, as we saw with the lower swing speed. But for me, even though the strike was the same and even though the delivery was the same apart from that dynamic loft, it didn't really affect launch and spin at all. I think the dynamic loft probably would have had an effect on that efficiency though. A little bit less delivered loft generally does become a little bit more efficient and eke out a little bit more ball speed. A bit like hitting a 7-iron rather than a 6-iron, right? Less loft, you're going to get more ball speed. Peak heights were 104, 103 feet, so there's absolutely nothing in the peak height and angle of descent at all. And so that equated to 5 yards more carry. So a little bit more right bias, I would say. As I said, you probably saw when I was hitting. It's a tiny bit harder to square the face. It definitely sits a bit more open. It could just be that, and that CG a bit lower and further forward, making it a little bit harder to square the face as well. So a tiny bit more right bias. We can see a little bit more on average down that right side with a couple leaking more down the right, which I personally quite like. Again, it's going to depend on the player. But yeah, overall, I think just a little bit more swing speed, a little bit more ball speed, and yeah, tiny bit more distance. There we go, a super in-depth comparison of those two heads. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. There would have been loads of data going through multiple sets, you know, showing you loads of shots. It's probably a very long video, so I apologize, but we like to do things super in-depth here and be as fair as we possibly can be. So my kind of thoughts and my synopsis would be, yeah, really good driver, fantastic. I feel like they've made little incremental gains in every area, which is about all you can possibly ask for at this level. The TSR was a phenomenal driver, like one of our best sellers, performed unbelievable. So we're only talking marginal gains now. That's all that is possible realistically. But TSI, great driver. TSR, brilliant driver. Marginal gain. I personally feel the difference between TSR and the GT is bigger than it was from the TSI to the TSR. So I just think there's, again, little gains in every area. For me personally, looks better. A little bit lower profile, sits more neutral, more square to my eye, looks much better. To me, it feels and sounds much better as well. And then you've got those little gains there, a little bit more swing speed that leads to a tiny bit more ball speed and a little bit more distance. Again, it's only 5 yards or so. So realistically, if you've got a TSR2 that is well fitted to you, and that's always the key, if it's well fitted to you, yeah, you're not going to see a huge jump. It's probably not worth the 570, 580 quid that the driver is, right? Probably not. But a little bit better in that area, probably a tiny bit better on miss hits. Again, really probably hard to say looking at the data, but there was a tiny bit more efficiency on the miss hits, so probably a tiny bit better there, 1%, a little bit quicker swing speed, a little bit more ball. Do you know what I mean? It's just little incremental gains everywhere, but for me, it just looks class, looks better down by the ball, feels unreal. Yeah, I just think, I love it. It's a great driver. It looks super sleek. It will definitely be going in my bag. So again, love to hear your thoughts of the video. Please subscribe, stay tuned. We've got loads more coming. GT3 versus TSR3 coming next. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. Almost at 20K. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.